Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, honorables and senior citizens of Uganda. We are here for a press conference about unlawful arrest, abduction, and kidnap of innocent Ugandans, innocent wananchi. This conference is called by senior citizens of Uganda, Hope Uganda. On the mic is Vice President Evelyn Lake. Next to me, Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe, senior citizen of Uganda, former MP for Rubaga North, Waswalule. We have elders from Bunyoro, Kiwanuka Amis Kenneth. We have Paul from Oima. These are our guests for this morning press conference. Why we are here, Ugandans, as I said earlier, it is about the unlawful arrest, adoption, and kidnap of fellow wananchi. I speak also with authority on behalf of my president, who is also a victim of these innocent Ugandans. That is Mr. JosephKabuleta, who is in Luzira prison with other innocent Ugandans. So Hope Uganda called for this conference. They are senior Ugandans. Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe. She was a member of parliament for 17 years, a Pan-African parliament for 2 years. She has been the first minister of Uganda. She has been a member of Uganda Commissions. She has been a member in the Assembly of Uganda for years. She has lived in Uganda. She has known what has been in Uganda, the sufferings, the good side, the bad side. She can testify for us. Honorable Waswalule is a fellow and a humble citizen of Uganda who was once a deputy minister for Inspector General, that is IGG. I believe he will also testify and give us the background of Uganda. And other invited guests, they will also give their testimonies about what is happening in Uganda. To echo more, as the Vice President of NEED, I also want Ugandans and the world to know that Uganda at the moment, the security is at par. It is so insecure for us Ugandans. And I want the regime and the government to know that the more they keep our president in jail, the more they are denying Ugandans their economic freedom. We all know why he's there, because of advocating for the freedom of the economic empowerment of fellow citizens of the wananchi. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe to echo more on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, my colleagues and members of the press. I was invited by Hope Uganda, the called on me and asked me whether I would be willing to discuss these issues of insecurity for Ugandans. And of course, I said, of course I am. I'm ready to talk about these things. Why am I even ready to talk about these things? Because as fellow Ugandans who are listening to me, you know very well the fear that has been created among Ugandans. Ugandans have been gripped with such fear that they fear talking, because when they talk, they will be arrested. And when they are arrested, they are not even arrested lawfully. They are arrested, they are incarcerated, they don't know where they are. And so I said, yeah, I will come and be a voice. Because for me, I am old. I have lived in this country. I have seen it. I have done my part. I have retired, but I continue to see things which pain me and hurt me as a Ugandan. In the evening time of my life, I was expecting to see better Uganda. When I threw myself into working for this country, I was feeling that actually we are getting Uganda from the ditch where it was by the time we went onto the political platform to put it in a better way. I didn't know that I would see what I was seeing earlier before. So I said, let me come. We've been hearing, all of us, especially we senior citizens who are retired, who are no longer in practical work in this country. Although for me, I continue to do my voluntary work. We continue to see Ugandans being arrested, detained where we don't know. And we hear some of them have disappeared completely and cannot be found. And we see, what can we do? We find we can't do much. The only thing that has been is to speak through civil society organizations. Some of us were shut down when the civil society organizations were leading, we are closed. When we are to appear on TV program, they say, no, you can't even appear here. If you do, we shall shut the TV or something like that. So some of us are just now confined to keep you quiet while Ugandans are being tortured and are suffering. And therefore, I want to thank God for this opportunity to talk about this whole issue of arresting people wrongly, detaining them indefinitely, incarcerating them in places where relatives don't know, and some of them have disappeared. First of all, I don't refuse or object to arresting an alleged offender. Everybody who is alleged to have committed a crime should be arrested and taken to prison and be charged, and their case should be heard. And then if it is conviction, they are convicted. If it is acquittal, they are acquitted. But when we see there are procedures, they told you I'm one of the 21-member commission that made the Constitution of Uganda. When we are making that constitution, and I was a CA delegate, you remember the preamble to that constitution. It was coming from a background of Ugandan suffering. And we said to avoid the past that we have gone through, we want to begin afresh, and this is how we are beginning. And we put a constitution and made laws in line with that constitution. And therefore, those laws within the Constitution should be the ones followed to arrest people. I, Miriam Atembe, when I see and hear of drones which come in the night, in the day, grabbing people, I completely remember the times of Amin. The times of Amin which were so painful, where people would come with these vehicles without numbers, and they are wearing their boots and they are putting these sunglasses like I'm putting now because of my eyes. But for them, they were putting them, and you would know. If you would be in a shop or at a place drinking tea and you see such a vehicle and those people, all of you would run to go and hide. I didn't know that such a situation would come back in the time of the current government. The current government, led by President Museveni, who, having seen the rigging of elections and the torturing of Ugandan people, went to the bush to redeem Ugandans from suffering. When you see what was happening in Obote's time, I was there. I experienced it. At times, by the way, I say that one of the reasons why some of these leaders in government, including our president, let such things happen, is because for them they were not here. During Amin's time, they never saw what I saw. During Obote's time, they never experienced what we experienced, because they were away in the bush, they were away in foreign lands, but some of us were here. I have been in this country from the time I was born up to now. I've never left this country. And we suffered and suffered and suffered. And that's why we embraced. Me, I was UPM. Some of you don't know UPM. UPM eventually is the one your father was with us. Is the one which eventually became NRM, and we were there thinking that we shall redeem Ugandans. But now, to see the same thing coming, why don't you go according to the rules of arresting an alleged criminal? Not even a criminal, but alleged, according to the law which I studied, unless it has changed. In Uganda, you are presumed innocent until proved guilty. But here in Uganda, they come and arrest you as guilty already. They torture you, they beat you. We have seen people who have managed to get out of those cells wherever they keep them with maybe permanent injury, with damages, with all sorts of things, as if they were criminals. Yet according to the law, you are innocent until proved guilty. You are supposed to be arrested in a certain procedural way. The police who is arresting you is supposed to come with his documents, present them to you and say, here I am, I'm the policeman, I'm arresting you because you are alleged to have committed such and such an offense. So let's go. And then you would take him to the known, legalized, known places of security. If you are to pass the police station first, you go to police cell. And within 48 hours, you are taken to court and you are charged. And if the offense is a bailable offense, then they give you bail. We have a list. We have crimes which are bailable and those which are not bailable. And even then, even those which are not bailable, the law which I studied is if within 1 year your case has not been heard, then bail is automatic. But can you imagine right now as we talk, 2 members of parliament supposed to be representing Ugandans in parliament have spent almost 2 years in police, in prison, in Kigo, without bail, without their case being heard. And these are members of parliament. What is it that prevents the court to expedite at least an honorable member of parliament's case because he's supposed to be representing his people. These people have never had any representation in that parliament ever since they elected members of parliament. And I don't think they have elected even more people. Have they elected again? They haven't. So how can you deny the two constituencies representation in parliament and their members of parliament are just there? In no I don't know. They can't release them on bail. They tortured them. They suffered. There is no, in this country, you can't hold somebody as honorable. According to the laws, which I know, you must come and present the speaker. You tell the speaker, this honorable member has got a charge, blah, blah, blah. You take somebody honorably. But now Ugandans are there, shut up. They say COVID, there was a lockdown of COVID. But after COVID, there is shutdown of Ugandans. They cannot speak. Now you come to this Kabuleta man, the Kabuleta. They arrested him and they charged tribal sectarianism, promoting sectarianism. I want to ask you Ugandans who are listening to me, who is practicing and implementing sectarianism in this country? Who doesn't know that right from the top of the government in this country to the lower, whoever has authority and have a job and is there important, is practicing sectarianism, tribalism, and most importantly, ethnicity. They are practicing it, implementing it to the perfection. Now tell me, Kabuleta, who has no official government job, who has nowhere to promote sectarianism, how can he be charged of promoting sectarianism? Do you know why? Because in this country, according to the law, when you practice and implement sectarianism, you are okay. It's all right that those in offices, in government offices, implement and practice sectarianism, tribalism, and ethnicity. But you Ugandans who are being affected by that practice should not see and speak. We should not see and speak about the sectarianism which is happening, which is being implemented by those in power, because then when we see and talk about it, it becomes illegal. How? How can this be? And then we keep quiet and our people are suffering. Point number 2. I want to tell the people listening to me, especially those in government, those who are arresting people, making them disappear, torturing. Some women are there with children, no widows. They are widows. Children cannot be taken care of. I see some mothers crying, and all these things, nobody's responding. I want to tell people that we Ugandans, we are not the same. We are not meant to be the same. Even God created us differently. We are not supposed to think the same way. And we are in this country supposedly under democratic governance. In a democratic governance, people are free. Those in government go and do their work. We who criticize must criticize. Because people are in government on our behalf. They are in government for us. The money which they earn in their salary and eat and enjoy is from our taxes. We are supposed to call them to account. We are supposed to criticize what they do. But here in Uganda, you criticize the government, you criticize, you talk when you are not talking for NRM, then what is this? Drone. Drone comes and draws you away and takes you away and you disappear. And your parents, your relatives cannot talk to you. Your relatives cannot see you. No. No, no, no. This country is not made up of NRM people only. No. We are supposed to be a multi-party political run country. Multi-party politically run country. And I know the reason why this Kabuleta man is in prison and moreover not being given bail is because she's busy mobilizing people in a certain way you mobilize either economically. Why can't we mobilize our people? Our people have been made poor. They have been turned into poor people. Poor. Everywhere you go, we are poor, we are poor. They've been turned into beggars. They beg like whatever. So why shouldn't anybody go there and mobilize them about how to financial literacy and how to empower yourself and use your hands and improve your life? Why shouldn't anybody do that? But when they see you do that, because they think you are interfering with their success of their NRM, they arrest you. Ugandans, I was here during Amin. The more we kept quiet, the more people disappeared. So I want to appeal to Ugandans to stop fearing. Rise up and talk. Religious leaders, rise up and talk. Even our Archbishop had to be a martyr. He rose up and talked and challenged all these things. And me here, I am talking. Let them come for me tomorrow. I release the fire of God and it burns them. Who do they think they are? And for us, the reason why I decided I must talk, because me, I'm in the evening of my time. I have already had children. I have already had grandchildren. I want these other young people also to have families and also have children. Why should they be tortured because of their political views? When President Museveni, he was not a president by then. When he was not happy with what was happening in Museveni, in Obote's government, he mobilized all the youth and went to the bush and they fought to remove the government. All my brothers, my uncles, people died there. But for us, we are talking from here. We are not going to the bush to fight the government. We are only critiquing from here. We are only mobilizing people for an alternative view. Why should we be made as if we are made one person and must have no other alternative? So Ugandans, rise up and talk. Me, I'll continue talking with my God. My God is my protection. If he wants me to go that day, I will go. But if he still wants me here, I am ready to continue challenging. I'm ready to continue talking. And in any case, President Museveni should not have changed our constitution. You continue to murder the constitution, murder the constitution. Now they are talking of bringing the sun as if this is a kingdom. Ugandans, rise up and talk. And I think Mr. Kabuleta should be let out of that prison. I don't see why he's suffering. The others, I don't know where they are. I would also talk for them, but I don't know them now. Whoever is in prison, whoever is suffering there should be released. Please, Ugandans, rise up. Rise up and talk. Especially the old people. Talk to redeem our young people. Why should they suffer and die without having families? Why should they? I want to thank you for your kind attention, and I want to ask you to report these things properly, not putting your own things. Thank you for listening to me.
I thank my colleague here for submission. I've already been steadfast as far as these issues are concerned. My name is Wasarule. I'm a former Deputy Inspector General of Government, MP Rubaga North. Before I was Inspector General of Government, I used to reside in the United Kingdom. I was a member of the Uganda Group for Human Rights. At that time, it was chaired by retired Justice Kanya Ihamba. I was also a member of the external branch of a military organization that eventually took the reins of power in Uganda. I don't talk much about that history, and I'm sure very few have in fact none of you have ever heard me talk about my connections to the roots of this current regime. And the reason is mainly because of these issues that go on. As I told you, I was a member of the Uganda Group for Human Rights. one of the reasons why I was part of what was going on in those days is because of the distaste for the human rights of Ugandans during those so-called past regimes. The disappearances, as my colleague has said, during the time of Idi Amin, you had Toyota Crown vehicles, UVS, those were the number plates, that they would dump people in the boots of these vehicles and they would disappear. Now, history is repeating itself in the Uganda of today, where you see arbitrary arrests, apprehending suspected criminals is not against the law or constitution of any country. But the problem is that this practice of apprehending people in these drones, whilst the powers that be in government disclaim the shortcomings in these arrests, you are left under no impression that they condone these actions. Now, the reason why I would take such a strong position of accusing the powers that be of condoning the goings on is that when there are shortcomings, whilst they distance themselves from those shortcomings, there are no reprimands. There are no, there's no action taken against the people whom they claim are doing things in their personal capacity. It's one of the defenses the powers that be use today is that people who do wrong do so in their personal capacity. They forget that they're in a managerial position, in an administrative position. When you are a manager or an administrator, you are responsible for the actions of your subordinates. You're responsible to ensure that your subordinates act in a particular way. If you do not rein in your subordinates, by default, you are allowing them to do what they are doing. You are condoning by ignoring. And that is the current status quo. I'm particularly concerned about the disappearances of individuals. There are many people who are arrested, who are apprehended during the election time, who have never reappeared. The assumption is they have been killed. The assumption is that the powers that be, either they claim that they don't have control of the status quo, or they are responsible for the demise of all those individuals who cannot be accounted for. It's difficult to say that somebody who has been apprehended for since the election period and has never appeared in a court of law, has never appeared anywhere, that you can assume that they are alive. There are many cases. There's other people, we know that they die during apprehension. Others die afterwards. Now, the extent to which we can blame the government for the demise of people who were at one time recently apprehended, like the son of Alhaji Naduri. He was apprehended, he was tortured, and then soon after he was released, he passed away. The only authority that is allowed to carry out a post-mortem is the state. And invariably, the conclusion is a fait accompli. However, the question marks remain. How did the individual die? Especially when they were tortured and they were in a very poor health situation. A more recent apprehension is this one of JosephKabuleta, where he's accused of sectarianism. If you see the pictures when he is being apprehended, fortunately, he does not appear, at least in the images, of being maltreated during the apprehension. However, when I look at the charge sheet, without going into the details of the case because they could be construed to be sub judice, he is accused of sectarianism. You take the sectarian law was, if I am not mistaken, the first law that was passed by this current NRM government. One should wonder why that law is so important to the powers that be, that it was the first law that was passed. Now, if you go through the history of the law that was the first one to have been passed, you should look at the number of people who have been accused under that law and the number that has been convicted. I don't recollect of any individual that has been convicted under this law. There must be something wrong with the law. It must be a tool. If you look at the charge sheet, it states that there are two people who are charged. One Kabuleta, who is a Munyoro from the west, and one Ayebare Prosi, who is a Manyankode by tribe also from the west. And the accusation is one of issuing statements and whatever, which statements are likely to create alienation of despondency, raise discontent or disaffection, and promote feelings of ill will or hostility amongst the Banyarwanda, Bahima, and the Banyankole. Now we have a Manyankole who is accused of causing disaffection to Banyankole. That one I fail to understand. You see, these are the little contradictions which you look at. Yes, and as somebody was saying here, are the Bahima different from Banyankole? Now, by this very charge sheet, the person who drew up this charge sheet probably should be the one who should be charged under the sectarian law for causing divisions between people who we don't know that they are divided, right? And doing it in an official manner. But as we know, the powers that be, they will probably be said to have done it in their personal capacity. But this is an official document of from the Director of Public Prosecution. Now, these are some of the things that we look at in the Uganda of today. This thing of sectarianism, if you look at the people who have been charged or accused of sectarianism, 100% in every single case, there have been people who have been pointing out sectarian statistics in governance, sectarian statistical correlations in governance. So for the powers that be to be accusing people of pointing out sectarian statistics, it would appear that it is not the act of practicing sectarianism which is the sin, but it is the act of pointing out sectarian statistical correlations which is the sin. But we shall wait to hear the merits of this case, because they have not set out the details of what was said and what was done. In most cases, why these cases don't make it to the courts of law, they are used as a means of apprehending people, as a sanction, as a punishment, but not something that is taken to its conclusion, because they don't want those details repeated. And that's why in the charge sheet you find allegations of sectarianism, but when it comes to the actual details, they are not stated here for fear that they'll be reprehended and reproduced, and the public will know exactly what was said that led to this conclusion. But that is the Uganda of today. So, those concerns said, they linger, and I continue to be concerned at a personal level and at the level of somebody who could be looked at as one of the pillars of that brought this status quo to that we are seeing. I am in very many cases. I remember I was working in Nakulabi there, and there's a Hajj there, and he stopped me and he said, "You are the one who brought these people here." Now, that is a very serious accusation when you see serious shortcomings in governance. You begin to feel concerned about your well-being. I've been out of government now for more than 20 years, I think. But for somebody to point at you and say that you are responsible for the status quo when you spent half your life advocating against the activities like that, it makes you particularly concerned. Some people in power sometimes don't understand that you have that much attachment to what is going on, but at least the people out there, they credit you for actions that you have got nothing to do with. So I won't say much for now. I'll wait for whatever questions you may raise. Thank you very much.
Good morning once again. My name is Paul Diwakwata, and I'm a Mnyoro by tribe. We are here to show our concern and unhappiness for the unlawful abduction, arrest and detention of our own Kabuleta Joseph Kabuleta. The case we see here. They charge him with promoting sectarianism. But saying that there is sectarianism somewhere, I don't think is a crime. What would be a crime to us is practicing sectarianism. When you go to the ground, you realize that sectarianism is there. For us, we have a problem in Bunyoro particularly, land. In Bunyoro, the Banyoro no longer have land. They don't have the rights on land. They are becoming landless. If you come there, you'll prove. If you want to know, you cannot process a land title in Bunyoro. It will take you years. But some people there who come, they get their land titles in a month. In just a month, they have a land title out. What is that? Isn't that sectarianism? And on another hand, sometimes I look at sectarianism as a natural thing. That's why we have languages, different languages. Otherwise, they would ban the languages, and we have only one language to deal with sectarianism. That's why Uganda is called Uganda, to Busoga is called Busoga, Bunyoro is called Bunyoro. It is a natural thing. Then when you turn it into law, then you are abusing the whole thing. That's how I look at it. But we can afford to live together. Now when you promote it, that's when you make it a law. And we feel somewhere that this law was made in particular to protect a certain class of people. That's how we look at it. Otherwise, where has it been ever since? Why was it not in place? Has Uganda started today? Or the tribes have come today? Then where is sectarianism? I think it needs to be looked into deeper. And then, they think we are quiet in Bunyoro. We are not quiet. Inside us, we are talking volumes of words. They think we are quiet. But the day we start talking, I don't think we shall swallow our word. When we start talking, they will hear how we talk. We are not happy at all. And we want to demand unconditional release of Joseph Kabuleta as the son of Bunyoro. They have done a lot of things on the land of Bunyoro, and they think maybe we are not there. And for those people who have been, they are there who are compromised. They can't say anything. They fear. But we want to drive out the fear out of every Bunyoro, wherever they are. And we are not going to go back. Because now, I think enough is enough. It is becoming too much. They have gone to an extent that Bunyoro, they now nickname it Albertine region. We don't have that community called the Albertine community in Uganda or in Bunyoro, as if they want to phase out the word Bunyoro and Banyoro. Yes. Now our children will not know that Banyoro is a tribe. They will think there is Albertine, which we don't even understand. What's that? Huh? Yeah, we are against that one and should stop calling Bunyoro the Albertine region. We don't know who was Albert. We don't have even his grave in Bunyoro. We don't have a trace of such a community in Bunyoro. But they now call it the Albertine region. Now, I want to ask, of recent, they scrapped the history of Bunyoro from the curriculum of Uganda. Why not other histories in Uganda? Isn't that sectarianism that is being practiced, and they want to put it under the law? Yes. Bunyoro has the oldest history in Africa. And it is real. And we want to know why they don't want people to learn and understand about Bunyoro or the history of Bunyoro. There is something going on, I think, which we should stand up and resist as Banyoro. Kabuleta is the son of Bunyoro. And I'm very sure this regime never expected that someone from Bunyoro would stand up and stand against this rule. I think that's why Kabuleta is being tortured. And we are demanding for his release, unconditionally. Because when we start talking, I don't think we will keep quiet. They will not manage to shut us down, because you can shut our mouth, but you may not shut up what we are talking.
Thank you. Another one?
Another question.
I'm Rita Jayce in Namugabo, working with Baba TV. My question is, on Saturday, we're in Nakauka. We were celebrating the Human Rights Day. And the MP, woman MP, Wakiso District, Honorable Betty, is it? Naruima. And then the woman MP Mukono District, they were like, Uganda shouldn't be celebrating this day because we don't have human rights in Uganda. And then they were like, if human rights like was in Uganda, no people would be like, for example, the president, Kabuleta, and the other people that have been yeah. So, and they rubbished all the celebrations in each and every bite they were doing, in all the whatevers. The interviews, they were saying there is no right for Uganda to celebrate that day because we don't have Human Rights Day in Uganda because no one is free. Then last week we were at the Uganda Human Rights Commission headquarters, and we asked them that when President Joseph Kabuleta the lawyer came out and was like, he was denied his access to the family members at first. He was denied access to his doctors, like personal doctor. He was denied access to see, his people, relatives, and so forth. And we asked them, you as the Human Rights Commission, what have you done to ensure that Joseph Kabuleta is in good condition, he's being catered for, he sees the lawyers, he sees his personal doctor and the family members. Then they were like, they've already sent people that same day, they had sent people in the morning. So we wanted them to tell us, yeah, they had sent people that real day to go and see the situation that he was in. Then later in the evening, they would tell us or give us the report about each and everything, all the situation that he was in. So I want to ask the members of NEED, is it true?
This conference is not for NEED, so that is misdirected. Any other questions, please?
Can we respond to this? Because we are going to forget. Because these people are not even straightforward in their questions. Where is the other man who asked me the first question? Has he left? Where is he? First of all, you should first find your facts before you come to ask such questions. Because when you tell me that I sat Simanywe and agreed to refuse the king, the installation of the king, you don't understand what you are saying. Because it is not true. Now just listen. If you have attendance of that meeting, then you can bring the list of attendance of that meeting. Because you don't even know where I come from. You don't even know that it was even my father and the Tinyefuza and Ertumwin and the rest of the people who installed the king and Museveni removed him. You don't know that. Because if you knew that, you don't know where the king of Ankole was coming from. You don't know how I'm connected with him. So when you come and say that I was there and saying don't put king, that's, I reserve the words which I usually use. But that's a total lie. It's a lie, sir. I don't know how old you are. Wait. Because you put Matembe on the Katebe to account to you. Now I'm telling you that what you said is not right, is not true. I never sit with President Museveni to do wrong things. And Matembe is on record that when all the 20 years I worked with NRM, I never condoned any wrongdoing. It's very clear. If you're a young man who doesn't know that, then you go and read the history of Matembe. Because even when it came to violation of the Constitution for the first time, I stood up and objected, and that's why I was thrown out of whatever. That's why they follow me. Even when I go on TV, they say, please remove her. She's dangerous to the nation. Nevertheless, I have continued to speak out my mind. And so don't put me in the category of people who do wrong. Because even if you go in the history, you'll find that, I don't know whether you'll find a wrong that Matembe has done that to offend the government or to do whatever. Now, maybe to offend the government, I speak, I criticize the wrong they do. Now, the other thing was, why do we make laws which are bad? Now, when the law of sectarianism was made, I don't remember which year when it was made, but it came against sectarianism is how do I explain sectarianism? Is when you do something because of a tribe or ethnicity, like you give people jobs because they are your tribe or they are your ethnicity or they are connected to you in a way. Or you refuse to do something for somebody because he's not you are of a certain tribe, of a certain whatever. Or you punish somebody because she's that tribe or that ethnicity. In other words, tribes do exist, ethnicities do exist, but when you do something which you wouldn't otherwise have done if this was not of that tribe, that's when it becomes sectarianism. Now, when NRM government came to power, if you read the Constitution, against all the wrong things that were being done, here, for instance, in Amin's government, you had to be a Nubian, something like Nubians. If I tell you what I did one day, people, I was sharing with somebody, those days their transport was very, very scarce, extremely scarce. Tribe buses could not be there. You had like to walk all the way to Rizira where I lived, Portobello from town. And then one day with my baby, I was young with my baby and I wanted to get into a bus. But because I didn't have the kanga, the Nubian, the nose, you had to put something in the nose, you have to and put the kanga and wear like a Nubian, Israel Nubian. And so I went to the bus, at the bus park. And I said, can I pass here? Because I have a baby and I can't squeeze because everybody was squeezing to enter the bus. But I have this 3 months baby, I can't, or 2, I can't squeeze. Then the man there at the bus, of course, would be, the driver would be a Nubian, the one conductor would be a Nubian, everybody would be a Nubian. So I went and said, can I pass here? I said, no, you all go there. And then after that, then the Nubian woman comes and they enter. And then I come again and say, can you hear it? No. And then another Nubian, 2 Nubian women came and entered. And then when I came a third time, he said no. When I was still standing there, the Nubian came to enter and I said, we are tired and fed up. I pulled the kanga and threw it down and the Nubian ran into the bus and that kind of thing. Eh? Where it comes, say, if you have a certain nose, then that's the one who gets the job. When it is automatically known that, there, unless you are that, and with the Obote's government, unless you were from Mulango or Acholi or whatever, you would never be anything. You get what I'm telling you? So when NRM came to power, they said no. This sectarianism won't work. Let us pass a law to what? To remove that when you practice sectarianism, and I'm sure sectarianism is what is defined in that law. Like assuming you are a manager and you are giving jobs, you don't have to look for or you don't have to look for, but see whatever it is anyway. That's why the law came. You hear? So it was not a bad law what you are choosing me, that we are passing bad law and that kind of thing. The law may be a good law, but the implementation and the application of that law, I want you, if you said that actually that law is redundant, if you say that it is redundant because the very government which put that law is exercising maximally what it was trying to do, what? To avoid. To avoid. Because like Mr. Rude was saying, if you say, but wait a minute, let us look into people who have studied, who got all the bursaries to go and study for oil things. Eh? You open and look, where do they come from? Okay? If you say, you go and look at whether UNRWA, whether Revenue Authority, where all these important organizations, and see which people are there. When you say that, they accuse you of sectarianism. Eh? But the people who put them there are free. Put them there. So the problem is not passing the bad law. The problem is the government which passed the law, and yet it is abusing it and misusing it, while they themselves practicing and implementing sectarianism. That's what I said, and I say it openly because it is true. They themselves implement and practice sectarianism, and if me Matemba I say, that is ethnicity, that is sectarianism, that is tribalism, then I'm the one who must be charged in a court of law, which is not right. We are challenging it. We are saying it is not right. And I believe I am here talking, I'm sure majority of Ugandans agree with me. Don't they? Even you seated here, I don't see you clapping because maybe you are also part of the sectarianism. You are part of that sectarianism, you also. Eh? But it is true, who doesn't know? That's why I have always told the Ugandans, I say, you people, some of us, if things change badly, some of us will do what? Will suffer for nothing. Some of us will suffer for nothing. I'm telling you, when I was a lecturer at Uganda College of Commerce here, when Museveni was in the bush, you don't know how much I suffered. The very principal would tell us, that's why young people from the college even went to the bush. You tell us, you look at your nose, go, follow your Museveni. Go away, follow him. You don't know how much I suffered at that UCC for Museveni. And even right now, I suffered for him. I'm thrown out of any job, I'm thrown out because of him. You see how some of us will suffer for nothing because we are fighting for what is right. So, don't ever raise a finger that Matemba is doing wrong. I never do wrong things. I fight for fairness. I fight for justice. I fight for equality. Whether you are a Munyankore, do wrong, I tell you are doing wrong. If you are in Uganda, you do wrong, I tell you are doing wrong. If you are opposition, you are doing wrong, I say you are doing wrong. If you are government and you are doing wrong, I say you are doing wrong. You hear? Because I work for God. The other question was, what did I write about rights, beauty? That was the lady. Somebody asked you lady, you talked of the human rights. Yes, human rights, there is a massive abuse of human rights. Abuse and violation of human rights. When I was making the Constitution of Uganda, I think it is chapter 4, we were making that chapter against the huge, massive violation of human rights in this country. And therefore, that's why we made that law. That's why we even said there must be a commission for human rights. And it was established. But if the commission for human rights is not it has a role to play. And one of those roles is actually to help to find out, to investigate and see whether people are being arrested or chosen rightly. But they fear. The commission also fears. But what the members of parliament were saying was right. There is abusive and violation of human rights in Uganda. To such an extent that even the civil society organizations have been shut down. Do you still hear civil society organizations talking? Do you still hear them? We said Citizens Coalition for Electoral Democracy, which I was chairing, didn't they shut it down and close it? What about to Chapter 4, which used to fight and shout for human rights promotion? Wasn't it closed down? What about to Greece of Godba? Wasn't it closed down? And when those are closed down, the smaller ones fear, and so they cannot talk. And now people are suffering on their own. Let me tell you, twice, when Amin was removed, there were so many bodies, dead bodies and whatever found even in the State House itself there at Nakasero. Many. And when Obote was removed also, if you don't know the bodies in the conference center in Nairo Hotel, they were dead bodies and people who had been abducted and were being found there that time. I have always said that if we are not careful, if this government is not careful, assuming it disappears, it goes like that, like the other ones were overthrown. I wonder how many dead bodies and skeletons would find in some of these places. We might find them there. So for us, we are saying, please, human rights are human rights. And the law to protect human rights is there. And the government, why the government goes into power is for protection and guiding and guard of human beings in this country. Because those people in government are there because we are supposed to have put them there through elections, and they are supposed to account to us. And you can imagine when I'm arrested and my lawyer can't see me and my doctor can't see me and you are suffering in prison. What is that? When, by the way, according to the principle that governs Uganda, I am innocent. I am innocent until proved guilty. Those members who are in parliament, who are they? Sigirinya and Sewanyan and his colleague, whoever they are innocent until proved guilty. But you know what they have suffered in that place? Kabuleta himself and this lady Prose, I didn't know that they had charged him with another person. This girl Prose, she's there suffering. I don't know whether even her relatives have seen her. I didn't know that she was there. And for me, it is my habit, since I live in Ruzira, to go and see every political prisoner who is arrested. In fact, I was planning to go and see them because I know any time I would be there. Whoever, whether Moses Ari, whether they were Omara, I used to go there and see them when they were being arrested. So I intend to go there and I will see that girl also. Why should a young girl, be arrested because she talked of sectarianism? She said this sectarianism is bad, they are practicing it. And now, she's at large. She's only, maybe she's even disappeared. That is serious. Maybe she has disappeared, you people. And I remember they said she's that girl who talked at the conference. Actually, when she talked, I knew they would arrest her. Yeah, because when you stand up and speak the truth, when you are not an outstanding, you disappear. That's why I want to fight for them. Now, of police and Kahindo Tafire, whatever you were talking about, that Kahindo Tafire said the opposition should be investigated. This is one thing I was saying. What I am not part of those people who are hitting police. I am not involved in any illegal activity. I sit at my home in Port Bell and listen to news and see. But the one point I want to tell, even Otafire himself, who went to the bush, who was even involved, he used to tell us that at times they would be the one to kill those people and say it is the government here doing it. He used to say it in order to get support from public. They would come and do something, and then you see, the government is persecuting you, so they would join them. So he thinks that also people are doing that. But what I want to tell him is that people are angry. Ugandans are angry. Ugandans are tired. Ugandans had expected a better and good leadership from them. But now when they diverted and turned against Ugandans, and now they are behaving like the other governments which they removed, they are tired. They can do anything. It may not necessarily be opposition. I don't know what he means by opposition. For instance, I'm opposing what they are doing. I'm opposing, and other people are opposing what they are doing. But they are not necessarily going to fight the police. But part of those who are opposing may go and even fight the police also. And incidentally, those people, Otafire's people themselves, like they used in the bush to go and do the crime so that the other people may be persecuted. Who knows whether it isn't even the one doing what they used to do in the bush to attract support. Who wouldn't know? So he should also be investigated. And actually what comes to my mind is I heard that President Museveni has instructed Mao. This man is laughable. What he does is really laughable, although it pains us. That he has instructed Mao. Imagine Mao of yesterday, Mao whom he denied that he never agreed with him. They are not even at the understanding together. And now he says Mao should investigate the disappearance. The kidnap and the disappearance. Is Mao the internal affairs? Is Mao the DPP? Why didn't he ask the DPP? The DPP is an independent office which must do its work. And internal affairs is the one who deals with crimes. Now how can Mao, Minister of Justice, now be the one to investigate? They are just making fun. And you remember Mr. Rure here was reminding us of those people who were arrested during elections. Don't you remember President Museveni saying, I'm the one? Have you forgotten? He said, I'm the one who knows, who have ordered for these people's arrest, and I'm the one, I know who they are. Didn't he say so? Now, if they have never been produced, shouldn't he be the one to get them to us? Because I remember he said so. He said that. So why doesn't he get them to us if they are still lost? But anyway, the crux of the matter is the government. Me, I'm talking from the experience I have had, right from Amin's government, to Obote II government, to the first Museveni's, to Ruto's government, to whatever Mwanga's government. What we suffered, we had hoped that when NRM government comes, we would not suffer those things again. For me, the message I'm telling the government and Ugandans is that no, this is not the time when Ugandans should be dying, when Ugandans should be suffering. This is not the time. What are we dying for? Because people died for us. You remember when Jesus died for us on the cross that we may go to heaven? So why should Christians again now die, suffer, when Jesus died for us? So the NRM warriors, I'm telling you, I had uncles, I had cousins, they died, and I'm taking the burden of caring for their children without the government participating in it. They died and went and they died for us. Why should there be another death now that those people died to redeem us. Why? 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 It should stop.
Yes. The young lady who said when they were celebrating human rights, I don't know what you were celebrating. Me, I was never invited to those celebrations. But when lawyers are denied access and the family, that is a signal that the state is collapsing. When the prison services begin to bow down to pressure from the executive, when they stop following the established procedures, the procedures in prison services are very clear. At established times, the lawyers can have access to the accused, and the family should be allowed, not only in the prisons but in the police. It's the same thing. So when those systems begin collapsing, it's a bad signal, a very bad signal. And it is also a signal that there might be no intention to take somebody through the judicial process, because these shortcomings in front of the judicial process will be highlighted, and a form of defense. That is one thing. And it is also a sign that somebody is being punished at this stage before they are accused in court or whatever. So there's a problem there. My friend from BBS, you talked about taking issues to Kenya. I don't know whether the issue was taking the issues to Kenya or there was something that was not clear. Oh no, your tariff statement I'll come to, but you mentioned going to Kenya. Was it related to those statements?
Yes, opposition. The opposition went and celebrated Human Rights Day
in Kenya. Yes.
Now,
they said that it is difficult to conduct business here.
And there are some people they displayed in Kenya, claiming that they were
abused,
victims of human rights abuses.
Okay. Now, for whatever reason they went to Kenya, there were celebrations in Kenya. But you see, that's the problem with some of us in opposition, that when we go to Kenya, we should not say it is impossible to conduct business here, because we are here on human rights issues, and we are stating them, I think, fairly ably. But they have their reasons, but I think sometimes some people are overzealous and they go overboard, but that's not really an issue. And I won't go into the substance of the people they displayed because I don't know them. However, when it comes to my good friend General Tafira saying that they should be investigated, unless he says for what reason they should be investigated, it's not clear. But he's a good man. He might be saying it jokingly, you know. He might be saying it jokingly, and because sometimes you have to explain issues, and if you have difficulty, you put on, you know, in politics it's sometimes like that. Or the people who are displayed. Yes, but I can't comment about that without knowing whether or not that is true. The substance. He might have a reason to believe it, and the other people might have a reason to believe otherwise. So it's a question of now facts and facts. So, but whether he should investigate, let him go ahead and investigate. If he's investigating, not using drones to arrest first and torture and then reach conclusions, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah, I think those are the issues. Hmm? About the law of sectarianism should not be there, because if you go into our laws and constitutions, discrimination by itself there's a law against it. The law, it's not the problem is not with the law, it is in the application of the law. You see, the issue is not the law, and the issue is not sectarianism. The issue is that the people who allege that there's sectarianism, the people who are concerned about sectarianism in governance, are then accused of sectarianism because they have talked of a sectarian statistic. But was still, after being accused, in some cases incarcerated and punished outside of the law, they are never actually taken to court because it will never hold water. And that is in 99.99% of the cases. So the problem is not in the law, it is in the application of the law. It's a bit like this issue of lawyers being denied. The procedures are there, the rules are very clear of lawyers and family being able to access their people. But when those procedures break down, then you know that there's something wrong with the system. And those are the signs of a system that is collapsing. When you look at the governance of today, you look at the amount of pressure that is being put on now, in this case, the prison services, in many cases, the police services, the amount of pressure that is put on the judiciary to fall in line, the amount of pressure that is put on the parliament to fall in line, the amount of the way business is being conducted generally, be it during elections or even the way business is conducted in parliament, where the finances seem to be, passing through the system. The systems have to be greased. Then you know that there's something seriously wrong with the system. It's of course it's with the people who are in the system, but those are signals that the system is getting more and more rotten to the core.
Thank you so much.
If I can, on this sectarian thing, you see, what do I want to say, which is extremely unfortunate? I think when NRM government came to power, at that time it came to power, I would say it had good intentions. We had the 10-point program. It came against the background of, violation of human rights, torture of Ugandans, suffering of Ugandans, and it came with the intention to redeem Ugandans from that suffering. And therefore, put the constitution, put the laws, which were supposed to help it to redeem Ugandans. But down the road, they realized that actually they loved to stay in power more than redeeming Ugandans, than serving Ugandans. So they changed and they became like the governments they were removing. Okay? So now that they are even perfecting the evil and the wrong that the other governments were doing, I don't think they still need the laws which they put there. Because now, if the sectarian law was put there to prevent sectarianism in employment, in economic empowerment, in all those kind of things, if it was there to prevent that, and the point, one of the 10-point program was unity of Ugandans. To what extent are Ugandans united now? they are so divided to the level of a county becoming a district. Now, if that is what has happened, is the point of unity still a crucial point? Therefore, is the law of sectarian, apart from now using it against somebody who is mobilizing Ugandans to put them up also against the sectarianism that have been imposed on them, then it is a meaningless law. Because for sure, do you really say, can the government say that since Kabuleta Simanyi held the conference in May, isn't it? That he held the conference in May and they talked, and that what they talked was bound to promote sectarianism or to divide Simanyi Banyankore and Bahima as if the two are not one tribe. You know, do you see the nonsense? I'm coming again with these words which I had abandoned. But you can see the whole nonsense, the whole game. The Kabuleta and this lady are not arrested for sectarianism. No, they are arrested because of their political difference. The political difference, they have an alternative view to the NRM view, and therefore they must be arrested. And in any case, the charge, if somebody committed Simanyi, the alleged charge in May, can they prove the evils and the impact of that statement which he made in May? Do they have people who suffered as a result of that statement, that he should be accused and be put in prison because of that statement? And in any case, is that the worst crime in this country, that you cannot get bail? And I'm looking here, the prosecutor was saying that, you know, Kabuleta has a passport, he can run away. Run away from where? If I'm accused of sectarianism and they put me in court and they give me bail, where should I run away from this country? On the basis of sectarianism. And I ran away. You see, the problem is that the judiciary has been subjugated, the parliament has been subjugated, there are no institutions in this country to do their roles as they should do, and therefore we are just suffering. That's it. And that's why we say, fellow Ugandans, at least for us, me, the appeal I make is not for you to go to the bush. No. Because we went to the bush, came, and you see what is happening. For those who went to the bush, the Tinyefuzas who were talking, what benefit? So now we are saying, since the Constitution guarantees our rights, let us oppose, let us criticize, critique government, which is our right. Let us hold our government to account, which is our right. And let us talk, which is our right. Why should we be silent? Do you know how many people tell me, Matembe, you are not safe? Will you really stay alive? And I tell them, with my God's defense and security, I will stay alive because I have done no crime. Because I have a right, according to the law, to criticize the government, to challenge it when it does wrong. I have that right as a Ugandan. So why should I be shut up? Because if I talk, I will suffer. So what would that be different? How would it be different from the time of Amin and the time of Obote? How would it be different?
Let me just go back on that. You just awoken me to one thing. That the statements which are referred to in this video are statements that were in that conference that was in the conference center, the one where I was, where I'm witness to. I laugh, I really laugh. Because contrary to, and I'm not discussing the merits of the case, contrary to what this document says, those statements were not causing discontent or disaffection and promoting feelings of ill will, hostility among Banyarwanda, Bahima, because I don't remember Banyarwanda being mentioned. For starters, that is an inaccuracy. I don't remember it. But they seem to be complaining about dividing the Banyankore, which also this statement is doing. It is taking the Banyankore and dividing them into to Bahima and then Banyankore and Banyarwanda. You know, it's funny how laws are applied, but I'm sure that one will be sorted out, and when they get to court, we'll try and make sure that we are there to see if this thing can be sorted out, this stupidity.
We have one more question.
A moment before maybe the question. Journalist from Baba TV said Woman MP Wakiso, when they were celebrating the Human Rights Day, they said there is no need. Ladies and gentlemen, why do we celebrate? We celebrate to appreciate achievements and devise means of filling gaps or challenges, not so. But if that doesn't come out, therefore her statement was right. Thank you so much.
One more question.
John William from Taki Television. Before I ask my question, directed to the people from Busoga, Bunyoro. I'll first request Honorable Matembe and Honorable Uganda version. Now my question now goes to the people from Bunyoro. You demanded for the immediate release of President Kabuleta, and you didn't give the time frame. And if they don't release him in that time frame that you're going to demand for, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, like, if they don't release, if the government doesn't release him at that time frame?
Thank you very much. We said unconditional release. That means immediate release. We don't need to put a time frame. And in case they don't release him, one of the things we are going to opt to look for our position on the map of Uganda. We want to discover ourselves on the map of Uganda. What are we and where are we? Where do we belong? Do we belong there or not? Yes? And we shall raise up our voices higher than they can hear them.
Thank you so much for the question. Like Mama Matembe said, that we should not give up. We should not condone evil or violation of human rights. So let us wait. If he's not released, we should continue talking until something happens.
Uganda will just say just a few things. You come and put here, yes, we have been called upon here to, bana, mwe Uganda mwe mwarunjigiriza. Okay, Uganda of course nze rwange rwa kulye mere na ruiga kubanga naberanga mu Buganda nga mba njagala kyakulya munange ndina okwogera naye Oluganda nja mu bufunze ruyale ekitulese wano nga bwe mbagambye Oluganda sirumanyi rwonna bwe nteekamu ebyoluzungu mujja kuntegeera ekitulese wano kwogera namwe press kwogera ne Ugandans nga tuyitamu mmwe ab'amawulire kwe kulumirwa oba concern gye tuyina ku bantu mu Uganda muno government beekwata ne basiba ne babakwata mu bukyamu ne bababuzaawo ne bababuzaako kidnap arresti nga mu bukyamu nga bakozesa emotoka yaabwe eno gye bayita drone. Nze Miriya bwe bampise nti nzije wano njogere, ne mpulira nti yes kituufu nzije njogere nga nchalenjinga nga nvumirira ebikolwa bino ebikolwa gavumenti ate neyeegaana neebuzaabuza neefaananira ddala ng'ebiseera biri bye twayitamu. Mpulidde nti ndina okujja njogere nga nkuba omulanga ku Ugandans bagenze ne bayingira mu kutya okutabangako ne batya. Nze bwe tuba tunyumya nga pointi ya gavumenti enejjamu ogenda kulaba abantu basirika batambula ne bakuvaako bwe tobattisa. Tutuuse ku pointi eyo ey'okugamba kasita bagamba ku kya gavumenti nga shut up. Nenga ntatenze Mukama yampa omumwa gwange. Buli omu nsi muno alina kitone kye Mukama gye yamuwa. Nze omumwa gwe yasingayo kumpa ate yagumpa mu kigambo kya Katonda kiri mu Bayibuli. Bwe mugende mugisome Isaiah chapter 49 verse 1 kutuuka ku gwokusatu olunyiriri olwo olabe matembe mwenyimirira kwogera. Nengamba nti kanzije wano njogere nga nvumirira ebikolwa bino gavumenti ebyekola ebyokukwata abantu baffe, ebyokutulugunya abantu baffe, ebyokusiba abantu baffe ate ne beegaana nti tetumanyi na gye bali. Nze kambabulire singa Kabuleta ono we baasiba kati ali mu prison, singa teyayina bagiyita VC kamera singa tebayina CCT kamera mu ofisi yaabwe bandibadde era bamwegaana, bali batandise n'okwegaana ngu tebamumanyi. Bwe bagenda kutegeera nti abantu babakwata ebifaananyi ne bagamba katumuleete tumuteekeyo. Naye bangi nnyo abakwatiddwa batalina ezo CCT cameras, abali eyo betutumanyi gye bali. Kale bwe bangambe nze mbeera waka ndaba TV mpulira abantu bakaaba, abakazi bakuba mulanga, omwana wange simulabangako, abakazi bakuba mulanga, mwami simulaba ndi wana, abaana bandemye. Bali eyo ng'ebintu binduma ne mbyetika ku mugongo gwange wano ku mutwe nga bindumira waka. Naye bwe banaalabya bampita nti oyinza kujja obivumire ne ngamba nti ate mumpise kumpa omulimu Katonda gwe yampadda. Ne nzija wano mbivumirire kubanga nze Miriam Matembe nvumirira bintu bino nga ave mabega. Kati ndi mu myaka gyange eno eyabagira ngu evening time, ndi mu evening time n'ebintu bino twabibonabonangako nze nga ndi ne Makerere. Ndi Makerereyo nga nkiri student. Black Tuesday gye mumanyi yatandikira Makerere. Black Tuesday bwe batta oyo muganda wange yali Serwanga a person with disability ne bamukuba amasasi ku geti wali Makerere. Ffe twadduka speed nga batubonyabonya nga tuli abaana b'essomero e Makerere nga tukyali mu university. Ebintu bino byengamba ffe byatutandika dda. Otunu bwe twamuyisa mu ddirisa n'adduka n'agenda byatutandika dda, ffe tubimanyi. Nendoka nemala okusoma nembeera mu ggwanga muno amines time ne tubonaabona ne batta abantu baffe ne badisappearinga. Otaddemu n'Archbishop mwe yafiira ne baministers babiri ne baba stagingawo nti emmotoka ye batometa tenge babasse. Ebyo tetwagala kuddamu kubiraba, kati ffe twabiraba dda ne bitubonyabonya. Obote bwe yajja nga abakazi bakwata omukazi w'olubuto ngu banoonya masasi n'embunuka bamuteeka ku kiso n'afa. Abaana ne babafumitamu obwambi. Ebyo na twabiraba, twabonaabona. Era gavumenti bwe bazijjako nga ogenda kulaba mu State House omwe emirambo yali ejjuddawo entebe nakaseero awo nakaseero mu State House. Obote bwe yavaawo abaali emirambo national mansions, Nairo mansions eyo Serena gy'olaba nga hotel mu rooms nga basangamu emirambo nga yavunda dda. Byonna ebyo twabiraba. Nze nganzi oluusi ngenda n'endowooza nti oba kubanga ye president teyali wano yali mu nsiko eyo. Obwamini yali taliiwo, ffe tubiraba. Ali eyo Tanzania oba aliwa. Obwobote yali mu nsiko. Naye ffe nga tuli wano tubiraba. N'olwekyo bwe yajja n'ajja na 10-point program n'ajja bana tuzze okuredeeminga abana Uganda. Young people, nze nali mu UPM. Museveni bwe yajja n'agamba nze ndi UPM myaka 8. Ffenna abavubuka bato ne tumweyungako. Era nze kye nali mukondeminga nti lwaki bano abavubuka beeyunga ku Kyagulanyi, lwaki babakuba ne bababonyaabonya. Ffe bwe twamweyungako mu 1980 nga tebaatukuba tebaatutta. Twali tugenda ne young, ffe ba youth, twagenda ne young person, new person. Naye obululu bwe bwaggwawo n'agamba nti babubyo pyu, n'agenda mu nsiko n'abalala bonna ne bamugoberera. Nze saagenda kubanga nali ndi n'obwana bwange, asiina wembuleka. Naye njagala kubabuulira nti bannyinazi baagenda bakibona ba anko, naye nabona eyo nga ndi nakawaawo nga nsomesa nga batugamba labayo ennyindo zammwe mugoberere Museveni, mugende mugoberere. Ne tubonaabona tuukira ddala bwe yatuuka wano n'agamba ebyo byonna bigwawo. Ne tugenda ne tukola constitution. Nze nali mu parliament kumala emyaka yange 17. Nali mu LC, naliko vice chairperson na Kawa division, ezo LC zonna naziyitamu. Ne tukola constitution ne tugamba never again are we going tujja kuddamu mu biri ebyedda. Kaakati bwe mbiraba nga biddamu. Mwe temumanye ebigatto by'abasajja bano bajja bambadde ebigaali bindi biri ddaka nga balina bw'olaba emmotoka eriko UC ng'odduka. Kiringa kati bw'olaba drone n'odduka. Biyinza bitya kuddamu bwe biti. Naye nga nti owange nze sijja kutya kintu kyonna, kubanga abantu bonna balinga babasilensinze. Abavubuka bano abato be basinzeyo okubuzaawo ne battireyo kubanga teri abamanyi, teri aboogerako, teri ki. At least balibo badduka ne Museveni ne bagenda mu nsiko. Naye bano basigala wana batadduse ne bagenda mu nsiko. Kubonaabona ne bafa bali eyo bafiira eyo. Babasibira bwereere. Ne ngamba nze kasita kangende njogere. Nze ne bwe bantwala drone entute naye tejja kuntwala nze tebansobola, ndi mwana wa Katonda. Katonda yankuma yampa omumwa nkozese nteekwa gukozesa kutuuka bw'alaba nti maze n'antwala. Naye abaana abo bafiira ki? Nze ne bwe ngenda nazadde abaana ndina bazzukulu, at least ndina ligase gyendeseewo. Naye bano abaana batanatandika na kukola. Bano abaana kubanga balaba ebintu bibasobedde, young people nga kye bakola nga babatta nga bababuzaako nga why? Lwaki tebalina okuvaayo nabo? Museveni yagamba yaleeta democratic governance. Katoba waleeta democratic governance, lwaki toyagala alternative view? Fena tetwakolebwa nga tulina okulowooza the same and do the same. Democratic government ebeerawo ne government no opposition, and omulimu gw'opposition kwe criticizinga government, gwe mulimu gw'opposition. Olwoke ogigambe oginenye nti kino temukikoze, nabo bakirabe bakikole. Naye omulimu gwa gavumenti si kusirisa opposition ne babakwata ku mumwa, bw'ogamba bakusibe, bw'ogamba badrone kutwale bakutte. Zise drone singa fire ava mu ggulu n'azookya n'abazivuga. Panga okubonabona abana Uganda. Kati ate President Museveni mu kifo ky'ogamba nedda, nze narwanirira Abanya-Uganda babeere abantu babeerewo boogere bafune eddembe bakole emirimu gyabwe nga bwe bajagala, bacriticizing government kubanga democracy kye kitegeeza. Yagamba nze simanyi balimba. Ne juzi naraba omukazi unali ngwakyalinga Human Rights Commission mu parliament, member wa parliament, namulaba ku video yawo ng'ayogera ng'agamba nti bwe bagendayo mu parliament yagambye teri safe house anywhere. Ngu teri houses zonna ze bakwatiramu abantu teziriiwo. Ngu teziriiwo. Ntate n'ekirala nti teri bantu bonna batulugunyizibwa. Kubanga bagenda mu parliament bwe batuukayo balimba bulimbi byokka. Ngu teri yenna atulugunyizibwa. Ddala ekyo kituufu, abantu balimba. So nze on behalf kasita Mukama yampa omumwa ng'ogeze kutuuka bw'ali ntwala, njagala kuba omulanga ku gavumenti, mulekeraawo kubonyabonya abantu baffe. Kati ngono Kabuleta ono n'omukazi wendabye simanyi prosi ne babakyuzi nga sectarianism. Nze ebya Uganda kyeva binsobera. Abannayuganda bonna bampuliriza bali eyo bakimanyi bulungi nti sectarianism kyekivuga gavumenti eya Uganda wano, nga tomanyi who is who. Bagendeyo bazirabe, mugende mu organization zonna ezifuna sente nyingi oba ezikola emirimu eno ey'amaanyi, mulabe baana abaliyo. Mugende mulonde baana abafuna scholarship bagende basome bya fuel. Baani mu Uganda muno tribes tuyina nyingi, mugende mulabe bameka. Is it proportional representation? Waliyo nti buli omu naye yafunayo kyali. Aba mugende yewe ogende Entebbe airport n'oyingiramu omwo n'olaba institutions zonna. Sectarianism government yonyini yegipromotinze yegikola. Kakati abantu b'omu government okuva ddala kutuuka wansi bapracticinga sectarianism, baimplementinga sectarianism. Naye bw'okasita gw'ogiraba nga nze Matembe nga bwe njogerako, gwe oli supposed kugala amaaso go n'ogalawo n'omumwa gwo n'otabalaba. Biringa omanyi nze enva enkole ewaliyo sectarianism eya religion, abakatoliki n'abaprotestant. Bw'okyogera n'ogamba nti naye wano nga waliwo sectarian ya religion, ayayayaya gwe bagamba gw'oli sectarian. Gw'okiraba n'okyogera, naye abakikola bo kiri bulungi. N'olwekyo ekyo tetujja kukyagala. Ndabye ekyaji gye batadde ku musajja ono sectarianism, ngwaliwo sentensi gye yayogera, simanyi ngu neekola ki. Sentensi gye yayogera myezi 5 egiwedde. Waliwo evidence nti kino kyatabula, simanyi Abanyankole n'Abahima. Nze nali simanyi nti Abahima is a different tribe from Banyankole. Naye bwe ndabye ekyaji wano, ono prosecutor ow'omu government alabika ya promotinga sectarianism, n'adividing Abanyankole mu tribes z'Abanyankole n'Abahima, Abahima n'Abanyankole bw'ataddemu. Nze sibitegeera ebyo. N'olwekyo ono omwami Kabuleta ne munne babakwata kubanga balina different alternative view, kubanga bote bawagira movement, kubanga betorola mu district sibasomesa abantu economic empowerment, babagambe by'obwavu mbireke NRM bagambe ngu binabafuula bagagambe veko kubanga bya bulimbi, ndoza bwatyo bwabulira abantu. Ate it is my right. Nze ndi right yange kugenda ku meeting abantu bane ne bagamba nti banange ebinebye ebyemiruka simanyi parish model bya bulimbi mwali mulabyeyo sente ezivaayo mbyogere ne mbagamba nti muleke tusutuke twerwaneko twekulakulanye. What's wrong with that? N'olwekyo eno meeting batuyise wano tugambe no, stop, arrest, lekeraawo okusiba Bannayuganda, mulekeraawo okubonyabonya Bannayuganda, mulekeraawo. Ate tetugamba nti si kituufu, ffe tetugamba nti kiri wrong okukwata Omunnayuganda ng'akoze ensobe. Omunnayuganda bw'aba akoze omusango bamukwate, naye bamukwate bagende nga bagendera mu mateeka ag'okumukwata. Waliwo constitution, waliwo amateeka ge twakola ffe nga NRM government. Nze nali member wa Constitutional Commission, ne making sure nti bye nalaba emabega eyo tebijja kuddamu Uganda muno. Nali member wa CA delegate, naliwo cabinet minister, nga tugamba nedda biri ebyatuttaga biveewo. Tulina amateeka bw'oba ogenda kukola omuntu abaali accused. Moreover mu Uganda principle yaffe egamba you are innocent. Innocent simanyi kukiteeka mu Luganda, naye oba oli innocent tuuka nga kooti ekusanze ng'oli guilty. Naye wano mu Uganda kati bwe bakukwata olunaku lwe bakukwatirawo bakukwata ng'oli guilty. ne bakukwata mu ngeri eyotalisaanidde mu kukwatwamu. Oyina okujja omupoliisi ayina kujja ne identity card n'agamba nti am police officer so and so, nkukwata kubanga wakoze omusango bwe guti era nze ngenda kutwala ku Central Police wali within 48 hours bakutwala mu kooti ne bakucharginga ne bakutwala mu kooti. Bw'otuuka mu kooti kesi bw'eba eri bailable bakuwa bailo, bwe batali bailable bakulekayo. Naye ne bwe bakulekayo nze etteeka lye nasoma ligamba nti bw'omala mu kooti omwaka gwonna mulamba nga tebanawooza musango gwo bail is what? Automatic. Nenze njagala kurifaringa nga bano ba members ba parliament ababiri abasinga akalulu bagende mu parliament kukiikirira abantu baabwe. Kati bamaze omwaka n'emyezi 7 bali mu kooti. Omusango sigumanyi guki, tetugumanyanga. Ekibaganya okugusala sikitegeera. Naye gwe oyinza kugenda okwate member wa parliament. Member wa parliament muntu mukulu nnyo kubanga abantu baba bamulonze abakiikirire mu parliament. Bw'oba ogenda kumukwata oteekwa kubanga okoze investigations ezimala, oyina na charge yo erivere clear, n'ogenda n'omuteekayo nti omusango guguno n'alwoka n'atandika n'awooza. Naye gwe tonamanya na evidence yonna. Naye omwakyuzinga n'omuteeka mu kooti omwaka n'emyezi 7 tavaayo ate nga release yandibadde automatic eya bail. Lwaki tavaayo sitegeera. Judiciary simanyina kyekola bano ba magistrate abatuula wale ne babakozesa ng'abantu abatalina bwongo mu mutwe gwabwe. Ebiragiro bye basoma nga tebabigenderawo. Gamba nze simanye kiri wano. Kati abo bali awo. Why should 2 members of parliament ne basigala mu prison ne parliament nayo ng'eri awo esirise? Yenu parliament tukyagiina. Anyway, ebyo kambirekerawo naye nze mbadde nkubira omulanga government. Please, mulekerawo bye mukola. Please. Musumudde abantu abo be musiba against the law. Mulekere okuviolatinga human rights ate nga kyabatwala mu nsiko kujja wano kuturedeeminga. Ekyokubiri, mwabanya Uganda muveeyo mwogere. Okwo okutya ku mutyamu mujja kubanga babakwata ekiro babatta babakwate at least bwe boyogedde ne bakukwata bamanya nti gundi bamukwata kubanga ayogera. Naye mwabasirikira eyo ne babakwatira eyo ne mufiira eyo muveeyo mwogere mugane ebintu bino. Mulekerawo okutya. Bible egamba don't fear. Bible engamba tugambye nti bakawadi baligenda muheero. Bakawadi zibajja genda mugeena. Nze siri ready genda mugeena ku lw'okutya. Ate ne Mukama agamba mutyaki ya n'abalwanirira. N'olwekyo muveeyo tulwanirira abantu baffe. Eno government ekooye yakola ebirungi ne bigwa. Kategenze mu bibi egenda kumaliriza bubi. Banange ngamba saasira okukola ebirungi ne mumaliriza bubi. Mukama ababeere.
Ekyatuleese wano twemulugunya ku mbeera eriwo mu ggwanga kakati ey'okukwata abantu wabeeru w'amateeka, okubuzaawo abantu, okusiba abantu nga tebawozezza n'ebintu ebifaanagana bwe bityo. Abantu abamu babakwata wano mu biseera ebyokulonda tebalabikanga. Tukitwala nti abo bayinza n'okuba nga bakola ki nti baafa. Abalala balinga bano bemba ba parliament Basegirinya ne Sebwanyana bakutte omwaka mulamba, obujulizi tebuliwo, batwala mu kkooti. Era bwewetegereza ennyo engeri gye babakuttemu teraga nti bajja kuleeta obujulizi, naye balina engeri gye babonerezaamu. Case in point, waliwo case ya omukulembeze w'ekibiina kino ekya NEED bamukutte mu kiseera kino bamuvunaana obusosoze. Naye bamuvunaana n'omukyalo omulala nti baayogera ku conference eyo yali mu Serena. Ate ekirungi nange naliwo, naye nze nzijjukira nti omukyala yali yeemulugunya obusosoze obuli mu bukulembeze bw'eggwanga. Naye simanyi oba y'ensonga gye bamuvunaana ey'okwemulugunya ku busosoze. Naye ku tteeka eryo erya sectarianism ne batugamba nti eri obusosoze. Kyensobola okulyogerako kiri nti buli gwe bavunaana mu tteeka eryo bamuvunaana, naye bw'ogenda okwetegereza obusosoze yaba avunaana gavumenti y'okubaamu obusosoze. Tebangayo omuntu gwe baali batudde mu kkooti ne bamuvunaana ne bamusinza omusango mu tteeka eryo. Era sisuubira nti kiribaawo, embeera ejja kubeera ng'egenda mu maaso. So okukwata abantu nga tebawozezza mu biseera bya tutera nnyo okwemulugunya ku gavumenti ezaaliwo okuva emabega, ezaali zebisa bwe ziti oba bwe zityo, naye gavumenti ya Amin yalinanga emmotoka Toyota Crown UVS, nze zaali namba zaazo, ze zaabuzangawo abantu. Ku mulembe guno tulina zi Toyota Hiace drone zibuzaawo abantu, naye kifuuse etteeka. Lwaki ŋŋamba nti kifuuse etteeka ekyokubuzaawo abantu? Newankubadde nga omukulembeze w'eggwanga yavuddeyo n'agamba nti minisita wa justice Norbert Mao abulize ku nsonga eyo. Awo bwe weetegereza ebyobufuzi, okusooka tulina Human Rights Commission, tulina office ya DPP, tulina aba CID, aba special branch, tulina ebitongole ebibuuliriza. Minisita wa justice talina busobozi bubuuliriza, talina infrastructure. Kati olaba statement ey'okuguumaaza abantu nti wajja kubaawo okubuuliriza. Bali abantu badde bakola omulimu ogwo era abagukola aba Human Rights Commission weebali, naye tosobola beebuuzaako ne tukifuula nti waliwo bodi endala ejja okubuuliriza. Tekiwa nnyo ssuubi nti munaabaamu ekintu ekikulu ekivaamu. So embeera eyo gye tusaba nti ekome mu Uganda tewa kifaananyi kirungi. Omuntu gwe basibye ne baba nga tebamukkiriza bannamateeka kugenda okumwebuuza, yeebuuze ku bannamateeka be, oba n'abooluganda babe nga bamukyalirawa gye bamusibidde. Ebyo byonna bimenya amateeka. Ate ne institution ya prisons y'abasibe bw'ebanga nayo esobola okugondera amateeka agava mu ebiragiro ebiva mu gavumenti, n'etagoberera amateeka kukkiriza ba lawyers genda kukyalira basibe baabwe n'abafamire, kiba kitegeeza nti abavunaana abantu abo bayinza okuba nti balina bujulizi, ate baba baagala bababonereze nga tebannakola ki, tebannabasalira na musango. Naye ng'ate amateeka gagamba mu Uganda nti omuntu aba talinaako musango ng'omusango tegunnamusinga mu kkooti. So embeera eyo emenya amateeka gye twemulugunya, gye tugamba nti singa ekoma kyandibadde kirungi. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Anti kaakati bw'otunuulira charge sheet egamba nti Kabuleta tribe ye Munyoro, Ayebare ye Munyankole, Prosi ye Munyankole. Naye ate babavunaana okuba nti baleeta, sijja kumanya discontent, naye bajja kuleeta ebizibu wakati w'Abanyarwanda, Abahima n'Abanyankole. Kati bw'otunuulira charge sheet yo yennyini etemye mu Banyankole n'egamba nti Abanyankole ate abamu ne bayita Abahima ate abalala ne bayita Abanyarwanda. Yo ye charge sheet kyekola ki? Teyogera nti yazza musango guno, era erabika teyagala nsonga yennyini omusango gwe bazza kwogera nti gundi yagamba bw'ati. nyabagamba bugambi nti secretariat mbagezaako okwawula yawula mu bantu. Kizibu nnyo okugamba nti omunyankole ate gw'ovunaanye nti ajja kuwawula mu banyankole, naye ate nga ggwe ku charge sheet oyawudde mu banyankole n'otemamu nti ate mu banyankole mulimu abahima ne mubeeramu n'abantu abalala. Awo wali ensonga. Singa wabeerawo yeetaaga okuvunaanyizibwa, ku bujulizi bwe ndabako wano yandibadde DPP, si wakiri ono Prosi Ayebare omunyankole, ate ne Kabuleta yennyini omunyoro. Simanyidde ddala enwe olw'okuba obujulizi ennyo bwennyini tebabutadde wano, ate nga buli mu maaso ga kkooti bo bennyini sijja bwogerako. Naye ku kyendabako wano, bano bennyini aba poliisi bandibadde bavunaanibwa kukola ki? Kutematema mu mawanga. Obuzibu, etteeka teririna buzibu, enkwata y'etteeka. Etteeka lino lye limu ku mateeka ge baasooka okuleeta mu magezi gaabwe. Nze ku lwange saaliwo mu kiseera ekyo, era salabawo magezi lwaki baleeta etteeka lino. Naye bw'olaba engeri etteeka gye balikuttemu mu nkola, buli ayogera ku busosoze n'agamba nti mu kitongole kino bw'ogendamu ojja kusangamu ggwanga limu, oyo nga bamuvunaana mu tteeka lino nti agezaako okutematema mu mawanga. Kati omuntu ajjayo statistika eraga nti mulimu obusosoze, ate gwe bavunaana, ng'ate etteeka baalireeta kujjawo obusosoze, bali baavunaana obusosoze nga yeemulugunya. Tebaayo muntu yenna akola ki? Abagambako. Tukitegeeza nti obusosoze bw'obanga avunaana abasosoze, kiba kitegeeza nti gwe ate avunaana gwe wennyini gwaba omuki? Omusosoze, because kati obusosoze bw'oba onywereza mu munankani mu system. Ekiyinza okukolebwa, sijja kyogerera kazindaala. Nti nsabye wabeewo bakyuseemu.
Kyoko ono anyambye n'agamba ekigambo obusosoze. Kati gw'obuuza nti kiki ekiyinza kukolebwa, nze kyenjagala kubagamba, eno gavumenti eyaffe ya NRM bwe yajja wano, yajja ng'erina intentions nnungi z'okulwanirira Abanyayuganda n'okumeeshinga sure ngu Abanyayuganda bali bulungi, tebali nga bwe baali mu gavumenti seziri. Naye bw'emaze kubeerawo kyeyava yateekako etteeka eryo, kubanga edda waaliwo obusosoze bungi. Mu biseera bya Amini nga toli munubi tokola mulimu, tofuna ki, toba ki. Mu biseera by'Obote nga toli mulango oba mukyoli tofuna ki, toba ki, bwe bityo. Ye neegamba nti ye bw'ejja wano ebyo byonna egenda kubijjako Munyayuganda yenna Munyayuganda. Neegamba tulina unity, one of the 10-point program ng'eri unity. Naye bw'egenze kulaba eruddewo mu bukulembeze constitution gye twateekako n'egyonoona n'ebisangulamu bye twali twagala ebyali bigenda kuyamba Abanyayuganda, kati naye neddamu neekola ki? Nga bali bwe baali. N'olwekyo kati lino etteeka terikyalina mugaso, kubanga bo bonnyini abaliteekako kye bali baagala okubonereza kwa oyo akola obusosoze. Naye kati beesanze babukolera ddala 100%, bye babukola tebalina na nsonyi. Ate waliwo omuntu kola ekintu ng'alinamu ensonyi, sense of shame. Nebo bano temuli mu sense of shame yonna, temuli nsonyi, wabala kyova olaba gwe bw'okiraba n'okyogerako bakwata ggwe. Kati gwe bw'olaba obusosoze n'obwogerako bakwata ani? Gwe. Baabo tebalina nsonyi, ate pawa zonna baazifunira ddala bakola nga bwe baagala. Kati otherwise lino etteeka ery'obusosoze lyandibadde erivaawo, kubanga baaliteekako be bonnyini be balimenyera ddala 100%. Kati ne baba nga bwe byali luli, n'olwekyo kati likyakolawo. Naye ate n'ekirala nze njagala kugamba nga tumaliriza nti katugambe ng'ono Kabuleta we bakutte n'ono omukazi ngu babakwatira busosoze. Si kyekyo, babakwatira politics. ne banoonya chapter banoonya engeri gye babasibako omusango nti tunaabagamba tubakwatidde ki babakwatidde okugenda kubuulira abantu kugenda mu bantu ne bababuulira ebintu ebikwata ku economic empowerment kubanga kusooka Kabuleta yali ayesimbye ku bwa president ate ba president bano boolaba ba political parties tebalina right kutambula kwogera n'abantu bw'obalaba baziina bateekwa kubateekako obukwakirizo oyinza kuyita meeting n'ogenda n'oyogera babateekako obukwakirizo kati yo babadde agenda ng'abuulira abantu naye balina okumukwata banoonye kyagi gye bamuteekako bagimuteekeko ate n'ekirala lino etteeka ery'obusosoze lirina beyiro kati omusajja ng'oyo nga bamuganira kibeyiro nasoma ekyagi eno ng'egamba ng'ayinza kutoroka omuntu ali ayagala kwesimba ku bwa pulezidenti ate ng'atoroka ate atoroka alagawa timuli magezi kugamba nze na bano bamagistrate sibategeera bano abali omuntu muyinza kubasiruwaza nga mulaba omanya amateeka ogayina naye n'otya n'osalamu ebitali bituufu biringa bano abagaana bano ba members of parliament bill simanyi bantu bangeri kyabo ne bagamba komawo kubanga batya ku lw'emirimu yaabwe kubanga batya ate nze bamagistrate abo kye bansoberako ne ba judges tebalina buyinza bwa kujajinga Katonda yabagaana dda bwebanga batudde mu ntebe kujajinga balina okujajinga mu linnya lya Katonda si mu linnya lya pulezidenti w'eggwanga lino n'olwekyo anyway nze kandeka okwogera ebingi ebyange nabyogera dda naye kugamba kubanga nkyali mulamu sinafa ate nga abantu baffe babonyaabonya ate nga ndina omumwa gwange ndina okwogera naye byebyo naye ekikulu bagende basumulula abantu balekeraawo okubonyaabonya abanya-Uganda.
Mami Matembe, you talked about statement into when you were in the government, you never sat with Museveni, no mugamba akole bibi. And then for the 20 years that you spent working with NRM, you never condemned the wrongdoings. I
never condemned the wrongdoings.
You never empowered wrongdoings, they were supporting angokole bibi.
Omanyi bwomba mugenda kubuuza ebibuuzo ebitegeerekeka kati siraba n'ekibuuzo ky'oleeta wano kubanga obuuza ki nakugambye nze Miriam Matembe ono omwana abadde anyakyuzinga ngo nakola bibi ne mugamba nze Miriam Matembe ne everybody knows emyaka 17 nagimara mu parliament obwa minister namarako emyaka 4 n'ekitundu nga first minister of ethics and integrity nga nkondemingira ddala abali babba byonna nga bw'ogenda n'osanga nti Matembe gwe genda okole research oyagala kumbuuza ki genda okole research oba olabe nakola wrong supporting wrong government nga nkola ebiru wrong not at all simanyi kyobadde oyagala kubuuza nkole ki nkwe evidence oba saakola bibi kyobadde oyagala kati ekibuuzo kibadde tekizzi oba tekyazze obiteetera kumuganda nze Miria siwagira wrong first of all kyolina okumanya nze kasita okola ekibi kobe president kobe magistrate kobe judge kobe kinja kukyogera kobe political party okola bubi mbyogera bw'okola ebirungi mbyogera n'olwekyo nze na embracinga NRM government nenkola nga focus yange yali yakukola ki ebirungi after all passion yange ye to fight for equality justice and fairness nange ndinga semwogerera omugenzi semwogerera yagenda wamulira ngo ebibye yakola byali biki mu government waliwo ffe Katonda be yateekako nti tulabe tukondeming ebiru wrong to blessing ebiri right tubyogereko n'olwekyo nze byebyo byenkola oba ogwo oli mwana muto wakandaba tomanyirwa kimaze emyaka 17 nga bangoba kuweereza abana-Uganda bangoba nga nkyali muto nga nkyalina n'amaanyi gange g'okukola ne bangaana okuweereza abanya-Uganda kubanga nyimirira ku mazima owulidde nze since I left 17 years nenva mu parliament nenva mu government ya Uganda teri wadde ne position yonna yinyinza kufuna nti nkolera abanya-Uganda. Tokiraba kubanga standinga for what is right. N'olwekyo okwemerera ku mazima tokizanyisa kikostinga lot, you sacrifice. N'olwekyo yoyo matembewu kyova olaba sina nabye ntya nze kubanga manyi Katonda wange anyimirirako ajja kunkuuma kutuuka bwe ndimaliriza emirimu gye n'akola ki n'antwala. Gye notafiire nze saamulidde naye wagambye ngu agamba nti aba opposition kakati kambuuze aba gavumenti bo eyo gyalimu ya internal affairs abakutta abantu abana-Uganda ababatadde mu prison gye tutamanyi ababakuba baba injuring the way they have injured them bo lwaki tebanoonyerezebwako? Njagala mbuuze ekyo bo lwaki anaabanoonyerezaako? Kubanga ne bwogezaako kubanoonyerezaako bakukwata negye emikutu ogiraba gye bali abantu babyagala kubijjayo babyogere ne bagamba bateekeko n'etteeka lya social media. Oyo tafiire byayogera musaasira kubanga ye kennyini amanyi bye yakola ng'ali mu nsiko. Yali abitugamba bali bakozingako eyosi ku bantu balwoke bagambe nti ab'opposition aba gavumenti bye bakikoze. Owulidde kati wuuno bwe bimusobedde nti babuuliriza b'opposition. Opposition nze kyenjagala kwogera kiriwe kiti bw'oba oyagala ku investigating opposition kye bamaze ebiseera bino byonna nga bakola. Buli lunaku ba investigating opposition, buli lunaku Bakyagulanyi Kabuleta. Singa babadde teba investigating opposition Kabuleta yandibadde kati musibe. Kati nze bwangamba nti government investigating opposition simanyi kyategeeza kubanga ebadde ebeera buli kiseera ba investigating. Nange nze kennyini atalina party opposition nange bangoberera byenjogera bwe bangoberera. N'olwekyo buli kiseera buli lunaku baba ba investigating opposition. N'olwekyo nze simanyi kyayogera naye nze njagala kumubuuza ye bo abatukwata abakwata abantu baffe abababonyabonya anaaba investigating. Ate nawulidde Jose Museveni ng'agamba president ng'agamba nti bagende Mau yaba agenda na investigating nga ye minister we internal affairs ali awo. Lwaki si yabikolako? Internal affairs ndaba ye investigating abaki abakole ensobe. Kakati kubanga balabye abapoliisi babakuba n'agamba ba investigating opposition oba ba investigating opposition properly ne bafollowing bye bakola ne basanga bikyamu ne babakwata properly ekyo teri akigaana. Naye nze njagala kumubuulira oba tanategeera abana-Uganda batamiddwa gavumenti bagitamwa dda batamiddwa bye babakola. Abalala balina obusungu ebinigane eby'amaanyi. N'olwekyo oyinza nakusanga abo abantu abagenda ne bakwata poliisi ne bakola oyinza kusanga tebalina connection naki n'opposition. Oyinza okusanga tebalina connection n'opposition. Oba oyinza kusanga gavumenti erina bye yeteekamu neekola eryoka efuna opportunity ey'okukola ki y'okukwata opposition kubanga yatugamba nti babikolangako wa eri mu nsiko. Bali bajja ng'eyo Luweero ne basanga abantu ekiro abalala ne babatta ne bakola ebitali bituufu ku makya ne bajja ne babasaasira ne babagamba nti mulabye obo tekyabakola muveeyo mujye mutujoining. Eyo tactic bagikola bamanyi kugikozesa yinza na kugikozesa wano mu gavumenti tomanya.
Thank you very much. Thank you, senior citizens, for sparing time to add on your voices to the unlawful arrest of Uganda, fellow Excuse me, can we have some silence? Can we have only one? We are about to wind up. I really want to appreciate Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe for sparing time to come and sit with us. Sincere thanks goes to Honorable Lule Wasua for being with us, and elders from Bunyoro, and all of you, the journalists, and everybody who spared time to be with us. As we wind this conference, I also want to echo my voice and still demand for immediate release of our President, Joseph Kabuleta, and all political prisoners. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Mama, as you go, please pray for us because we are not safe. Any minute as we leave this house, the drone may be waiting for us there. So we kindly need you to bless us as a mother. Thank you.
So you stand up and I pray. We didn't even pray at the beginning. Our loving Father in heaven, we want to thank you for your love, for your care, for your protection, for your concern. We want to praise you, Lord my God, because you are the God of all gods. You are the King of kings. You are the Lord of lords. And you are supreme. You are sovereign, Lord my God. And that's why our motto is that whatever we do it for you and our country. We want to apologize and say we are sorry because we have violated the covenant which we made with you. That whatever we do it for you and our country. Instead, we do everything for our stomachs and our clans. We violated the covenant, Lord my God. No wonder we are going through these serious challenges. But this notwithstanding, we still give you honor and glory. For us who are still alive, for us who can still talk, Lord my Father, we thank you. And we bless your name. And we ask for your forgiveness where we have failed. And we want to place our leaders into your hands, Lord my God. Because these leaders, your word says leadership comes from you. But Lord my Father, the leadership in this country is failing you because it is not serving us according to your loving principles that you give us. Leadership is about service. Your word says in Psalm 78 that King David knew that you had made him a king and exalted his kingdom Israel for the sake of your people Israel. And therefore what he did, he served his people with skillful hand and an integrity of heart. But Lord my God, our leaders are not doing this. And for us, what can we do? We have no power over them. We have no authority over them because they have denied it to us. Our power and authority is to appeal to you, Lord my God, as your children, so that you may hear our cry and redeem our people, Lord my God. Hear our cry for the people who have been tortured, for the young people who have died somewhere in prison, those who are kidnapped, those who are injured, those who are maimed, those who are suffering, Lord my God. It is you who knows where they are. It is you who can redeem them and release them. And since you are sovereign, Lord, over the authority in this land, we cry to you and ask you, Lord, hear our cry and redeem these people and save them from the suffering, Lord my God. We want to bring your servant Kabuleta and all these others who are imprisoned with him, and all these Muslims who hear whom they arrest. We want to pray also for all those whose police husbands and sons have been killed. Because every killing, whoever is doing it, whether government, whether opposition, whether anybody, is bad. And therefore we cry on behalf of those people to you, Lord my God. Will you never remember us? Relentless, my God. Remember Uganda. Remember Uganda, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Because your scripture tells us that when children of Israel cried to you, you would remember them and redeem them. We have reached a stage, Lord, where we are calling for your timing, Lord my God, that you may redeem Ugandans from the suffering. Some are poor, some are hungry, some are suffering, and yet the wealth is being robbed by few people whom you gave power to lead us, Lord my Father. But I'm comforted by your word which says that the wicked will perish. The wicked have their time and yet the righteous will be redeemed. Lord, my Father, I pray that you may release your Holy Spirit upon all these people who are torturing Ugandans, and upon Ugandans who are so scared, that they may rise up and stand within your word, which says that we should not fear. We should not fear. Your word says that we should not fear those who kill the body only, but we should fear the one who kills the body and the soul. May you put that into Ugandans, that they may rise up and stand and refuse and reject the suffering that is being imposed upon them, because they will stand in you as a rock. And Lord, my fathers, we go out of this meeting, a meeting which would have provoked and angered those in government. Protect us. Protect every person that has been participating in this meeting. These young people who are talking about Bunyoro, support, protect them. Let them be rooted in you, that you may fight for us. Because your word says the one in me is stronger than the one in the world. And it says that if God is for me, who can be against me? May all these people who are here stand for you, that you may fight for them and fight against the enemies, so that the enemies may not overcome. Lord, we thank you, because we believe that when we pray, you hear us. And when you hear us, you answer us. Lord, my God, answer our cries and redeem your people. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, we have prayed. Amen.